What's up, gorgeous people out there watching me? This is your friend Zayed. In this video, we are going to talk about the differences between front-end and back-end development. What do they pay? Where do you learn these superpowers? What are the programming languages? What are the frameworks? What are the responsibilities? There are a lot of questions, but I'm going to answer all of them in today's video. So let's get started. Now, front-end is commonly referred to as the client-side development, whereas backend is referred to as the server-side development. So when you visit a website, so all the things that you see, feel, touch, and interact with is your front end, okay? But the things that go behind the scenes of your website, like the data they store about you, the information, the tracking of your data, the databases, the algorithms, so all the things that actually make the car move rather than what you see is the back end, okay? So let's start with the first thing, that is the programming languages, okay? Now, in front end, you should know 3 programming languages, and they are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, this is your core foundation without which you cannot become a front-end developer. Now, let's take a look on all of these, okay? So, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which is a really nerdy way of saying information. So, HTML will be the information of your website, okay? Next up is CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, which is exactly what it sounds like. It makes your website even more better, attractive, and gorgeous. It styles the HTML part of the website, okay? So, let's take an analogy, because I love analogies. So, let's take a newspaper, okay? So, the text, the images, and the tables would be the HTML, whereas CSS would be the different fonts, the different colors, the alignment, the formatting of your newspaper would be CSS. Now, let's compare this to your website. So, if you visit a website anytime and say, ooh, this website looks very much attractive. So that would be the work of CSS, okay? Next up is JavaScript, which doesn't actually stand for anything, okay? So JavaScript is used to add interactivity on your website. So let's put this in the newspaper analogy. So if you add JavaScript in your newspaper, it will become a Harry Potter newspaper, okay? Because the pictures and the text in the newspaper is actually interacting with you, okay? Now, JavaScript would add interactivity on your website, like for example, model boxes and a calculator. So how is the exact number printing out in a calculator? That's the work of JavaScript, okay? So yeah, now let's just take a quick recap. HTML will be the information of your website, like text, images, videos, tables, forms, and other types of media, okay? Now CSS will actually make your HTML part look even more better, like adding different colors, different fonts, the alignment, the formatting, the box models, and all the other stuff. So it makes your website look attractive. JavaScript will make it more interactive. For example, the model boxes. Okay, so how does a website look attractive to you? It's because of JavaScript. Let's take an example of a model box. So you have the cross button on the top. So when you click it, it actually closes, and then you can even open it. So there is an interaction going in between. So that's the work of JavaScript, okay? Yeah. Second one, what are the frameworks for front-end development. Now, there are many frameworks. For example, if you take CSS framework, you have Bootstrap, you have Sass, and JavaScript frameworks like React.js, Node.js, Angular, Vue, and there are many other technologies that you can learn and become a front-end developer. Okay, next up is the responsibilities. So what are the responsibilities of a front-end developer? That would be visual experience, layout, interactivity, responsive design, the structure of your website, bug testing, browser testing, and many other responsibilities. But at the final thing, you should be able to fulfill the requirements of your clients. So yeah, that's a responsibility of a front-end developer. Now, the next one is salary trends. Now, what can you expect? What can you expect as your income? Okay, so the average annual income of a front-end developer in the United States is in a range of $80,000 to $110,000. Okay, so that's a six-figure income that you can earn once you've mastered the skills of front-end development. Okay, so that's it for front-end. Now let's go back to back-end. Okay, so back-end development, as I said, it is the server-side thing. It is the server-side development that actually make the car move rather than what you see. Okay, so what are the programming languages in backend? So you have Python, Java, JavaScript, Ruby, PHP, and many other languages. But there's no need for you to learn all of them. You should be at least good or very good in at least 2 programming languages. So that's what people expect backend developers to be. Then you have backend development frameworks like Node.js, which is a server-side framework. You have Node.js, Django. Django is a Python framework, okay? So Node.js, Django, Ruby Rails, and many other frameworks, okay? So you can just Google it and check. There are many frameworks of backend as well. The most important would be Node.js, okay? Yeah. Next up is the responsibilities of a backend developer. Now it will be the functionality of your website, the databases, the algorithms, the logic of your website, the APIs, the security, tracking users' data, and all the other things that actually make the car move. Now, I've said this a lot of times, okay? So yeah, the backend would be the engine of your car, okay? So there are a lot of responsibilities on the shoulders of a backend developer. Now, their sign-up page. So backend developers actually store the information of the users. They track the users' data and all the other stuff, okay? So yeah, and next up is the income. What can you expect as a backend developer? Well, the average annual income of a backend developer would be in the range of $90,000 to $120,000, and that's a huge amount of income that you can expect once you've mastered the skill of backend development. Now, coming to the last and final question, which one is better for you? Now, in my opinion, it would be front end. Well, I'm just kidding. It would be back end. I'm just kidding again. It doesn't actually depend on anything. Well, it actually depends on you. So if you are a creative-minded person and can think out of the box, so front end would be the best for you. But if you're a logical thinker and can solve many issues given an amount of time, back-end development would be the choice for you. That's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next video.